Hi, this is Masenya of Masenya Attorneys Incorporated, a law firm based in Centurion, Republic of South Africa. We boast 24 years of legal practice in the areas of commercial and tax laws. My professional team and I have over the years proved great success in assisting numerous clients with a myriad of commercial and tax matters involving millions of rands. We are skilled, experienced, qualified, and have the capacity to assist you. Email us at clients@cntlaw.co.za or call us 011-318-6592 or 084-383-7747. All consultations are strictly by appointment.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining Solomon's Temple. I'm Uncle Solomon and it's good to be with you this day. Hope you're doing very well today and thank you again for being here. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel Solomon's Temple and check out all the videos we had created over time. You're going to find something interesting. And if you're interested in finding ways to make money from creating content for YouTube, well, you're at the right place. If you call me, get in touch with me on this number. For a small fee that I charge, I will mentor you, train you on how to make money from YouTube. How do I get the views? How do I get the subscribers? All of that is important on your way to making money. YouTube pays millions and millions of dollars every month to content creators. YouTube does not create content. They depend on people like you and I to create the content so they could make money and share that part of money with us. So if you have a passion for business, passion for ministry, passion as a pastor, passion for books, for arts, for agriculture, anything, you can always share that passion or knowledge that you have by creating content so other people can actually gain from it, and YouTube would pay you. That's the way it works. So reach out to me on the number, using the number on the screen. One of the greatest and most disappointing for a lot of people events that happened in the last 2 months is the divorce of South Africa's rugby captain, Kolisi, and his wife, Rachel Smith. Now I'm saying Rachel Smith because that is her name before she got married to him. They were married for about 8-9 years and got 2 boys. 2 kids rather, a boy and a girl. And he's somebody that came from abject poverty in a location called Zwide outside Port Elizabeth in the eastern part of South Africa. Now, if you are not South African, you will not understand how famous and how important Kolisi, the captain of the South Africa rugby team, is to South Africans. Rugby is a big sport. It's like almost the number one. I mean, soccer is still number one, but he was very, very popular, especially being the first Black captain to win the World Cup, not just once, but twice for South Africa. And then his wife, who is white, they got married. So it represented, a lot of like integration in South Africa. It was that they were like royalties. They were like Prince Williams and Princess, his princess, Kate. They were royalties. People look up to them from a leadership, sporting perspective, and marriage. People look up to them. So when they got divorced, it left a lot of people disappointed, especially people who were looking up to them. Now, it's okay to look up to another couple, look up to somebody, but just make sure that you are not only looking up to that person, you have to look at God. If you are a Christian, that is. Even if you are a Christian, are you sure you're looking up to God, or you're looking up to your pastor or your prophet? Because when your prophet fails you, you get so disappointed, you get so sad, and it's going to affect you. But if you're looking up to God, a lot of that would not happen. You'll be disappointed to a certain extent, but that was just it. So they were like a royal couple. in a country where there's the divorce rate is very high. They were the model couple that are making people to believe in marriage again, because a lot of people in South Africa, there are so many people who just live together. There are so many single mothers, people who don't want to get married, but they want to have kids. Believe me. If you're from West Africa, I know, or East Africa, I know it's totally different, right? But that's a reality here. If you live in America, it's just almost about the same way it happens in America or up in the UK. But importantly, they were Christians. They talked about their faith in God. They talk about Jesus over and over again. Anytime he gets the opportunity to talk about Jesus, he does. This is him here. After winning the World Cup, you could see his wristband, the white wristband there, cycled, is written Jesus. And here he was after winning, praising Jesus. So he was somebody that he is a man of faith. And this is him here also in the changing room, before a game, reading his Bible. So he was a man of faith, even with her. Now, the thing is, before all of us accepted Jesus and allow God to take over our lives, we had a history. And he also had a history. Kolisi had a history growing up, not meeting his father, mother, growing up in a place where it was abject poverty, where around him there's just crime and drug abuse, teenage pregnancy. That was all. But rugby, his love for the sport got him out of that situation. So later on, he got saved, met Jesus, but a lot of his past is not going to go away. And he wrote all of that in a book. In his autobiography, he called Rise. His autobiography, go on Google, you can check it. I actually encourage you to read the book. It's called Rise. He was very vulnerable in sharing a lot of what he has been through and what he is going through. Now, a lot of what he shared left me wondering and asking questions. Is his past responsible for his divorce? Because, guys, whether we like it or not, your past, if you used to be a criminal, a thief in your past, just because you got saved doesn't mean it's going to go away. You're going to get opportunities. You're going to get tempted to steal again. If you were very promiscuous with men or women, it's going to show up. If you are an alcoholic, it's going to show up. If you abuse substances, drugs, it's going to show up. And Kolisi was very blatant and very authentic in his book called Rise. These are some of the things that I want to share with you that he said in his book called Rise. In his book called Rise, he said, there were times in the early days when Rachel, I was his wife, would have to pay for our dates because I would spend all my money on alcohol. And this was when I was getting paid good money as a professional player, not when I was earning much less in the academy. I was a bad drunk, not violent, but prone to getting so wasted that I would pass out in the street. I would get arrested and then wake up in a police cell with no idea of how I got there or even which police station I was in. I had too much fame and money before I had the character to handle them. Wow. He was very, very naked and not ashamed. He would spend all his money on alcohol. And guys, do you know what that means? Years and years of drinking alcohol. For the rest of his life, he would have to struggle with alcohol addiction. So he was addicted to alcohol. Did that show up in his marriage where he was addicted to alcohol and then he get wasted with his friends, His wife is not there, and he kept doing it over and over again. Was his alcohol addiction affecting his marriage, and his wife couldn't take it anymore? Let's look at another part of that book called Rise. He said, it was part of something bigger. I realized I was struggling with a lot of things: temptations, sins, lifestyle choices. I struggled with porn too, like many men. I was in demand as the first Black Springbok captain. Everyone wanted to know me. So he had a lot of temptations. What sort of temptations? To cheat on his wife as a married man? Did he do that? Was there adultery? Because he's like you and I. If you give in to temptation, you fall for it. He was addicted to pornography, guys. Do you know what it means to be addicted to pornography? I was never addicted to pornography, but what I'd read about that, you cannot just be addicted to pornography and it stops there. If you're married, the next step is you want to commit adultery. If you're single, next step is promiscuity. Did his pornography addiction show up in his marriage? Did that addiction for pornography found a window and came into him in the course of his marriage, and he went back to it? The temptations that he's speaking about in his books, what sort of temptations are those? How did he handle it in his marriage? Now, I'm not telling you entirely that he was the one that caused the marriage to fail. No, guys. I'm just taking us on a journey in understanding the life of this man, what he has been through from a young age, how he grew up in poverty, how he grew up looking at everybody around him, almost everybody, alcohol is the thing. That's what you do. Fornication is okay. That's what you do. And he got into all of this. Even when he became a professional rugby player, he used his money, like he said in the book, all his money to drink alcohol, obviously buy for friends and everything. Now, if somebody who's a rugby player, they get paid a lot of money. If he uses all his money to keep spending on alcohol, that's to tell you this guy is really addicted to alcohol. And he has a problem there. And then there's pornography addiction. Addicted to pornography. Do you know how many pastors are addicted to pornography? Do you know how many men are addicted to pornography on their phones? Sometimes when I'm even on my phone and Twitter or whatever, and I see all this, not even pornography, but some of these things that are just soft pornography, you don't want to look at that. It destroys you as a man. How did that, or did that help in destroying Kolisi's marriage to Rachel Smith? Guys, the fact is, let me be honest with you. I'm close to certain people who are close to the rugby community. And they actually said, look, hey, the guy struggles. I don't know how he struggles, but he still struggles with some of these things. And I don't even know if that really contributed in his divorce or not. I don't have an idea. But I'm just saying that, guys, we need to revisit our past from time to time. Our past addiction, our past immorality. Do not forget it. Satan has a way of using it against you and making you go back into the sin again. It could be 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, guys. It doesn't just show up out of nowhere. You see a pastor who cheated on his wife after being faithful for 20 years. It didn't just show up. Look at his life, where he came from. Was there an opening? I know areas in my life that I had to be careful. And I'm looking intentionally in these areas because I know this area, Satan could use it. It's not enough to get saved. It's not enough to go to church. It's not enough to say you're a Christian. It's not enough to go to Bible school. It's not enough to pastor a church. What would make you enough is when you allow the Holy Spirit to help you every time you face these temptations to go back into doing this, go back to him, go back to her, send this message, look at this pictures, pornography that you cannot, look at that, do that. It's very important. I cannot overemphasize the importance of the Holy Spirit. You on your own, you will fail. You will give in to these temptations. But with the power of the Holy Spirit, allowing the Holy Spirit to govern your life at every corner, every turn, gradually, you allow every moment, because you're a weak person, you're a fallen person. You cannot say, I have overcome my alcohol addiction. You've been addicted to alcohol, you were in it for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Addicted, that's what you do every time. It's difficult to deal with it. For you to overcome alcohol addiction, only a few people does. And even if they do, it's not like they've overcome it like totally. They just learn to deal with it. When the urge to go consume alcohol comes, they know where to go to. The Holy Spirit is our helper. Guys, and I want to encourage you. Go visit when you're 12, when you're 17, when you're 21. What are some of the immoral things, sins that you struggled with, things that you enjoyed doing, that you know it now you can look back and say it's sin? Be careful of those things. Satan will bring those. Your flesh is there. It's going to show up again. How you handle it is very important. Guys, thank you everyone who's been sending messages. I think Kopano says you are looking at those areas intentionally. Oh yes, Uncle Solomon. Anita says alcohol addiction is very difficult to overcome. Many are struggling today from their past. Yes, we must be delivered. The Holy Spirit is our helper. And guys, sometimes deliverance doesn't mean, okay, because I am I used to fornicate a lot. Now I'm married, deliverance, and I'm delivered. Deliverance doesn't mean you're not going to feel like fornicating again. But it meant when you feel like fornicating and going to cheat on your wife, or when you feel as a single person to go and have sexual intercourse, you would allow the Holy Spirit to guide you away from it. That's deliverance. Deliverance is a daily thing. It's not a one hand, lay hands on you and pray and then he goes away. It's not somebody prophesying. Oh, for some people, the urge goes away. But then the thing is, you're going to get, because you're here, you're going to get those opportunities again. Right? Bungani gives Numbers 32:23 says, your sin will find you. Anita says, thank you for sharing this. Very eye-opening. Guys, we need to learn from each other. Copano also says, inappropriate relationship with the opposite sex without boundaries. I'm a married person. I have no business telling another woman that I love her. I have no business having an inappropriate relationship with another woman. I ran away, guys. I ran. I'm not Superman. Even Superman will fall for that. I ran away. May God continue to be with Sia Kolisi and his family. And we just hope, that you overcome, just like a lot of people who are struggling with something every day. Guys, there's victory, and that victory is in Jesus. God bless you guys.